Master of Science, Business Administration. Research topic: The impact of practical teaching system of innovation and entrepreneurship in education, Qingdao University. Student name: Ma Yulong. Student idea: 202-201-050141. Supervisor: Dr. H.D. Muhammad Azakassia Ben Abdullah. Presentation overview. Content: Chapter 1 to Chapter 5. Description: Introduction, literature review, research methodology, data collection, analysis, findings, conclusion, recommendations. Chapter 1, Introduction. Introduction of the proposed research. This study provides an analysis and investigation of the current stage of education pertaining to innovation and entrepreneurship, which is an essential component in the development of an innovation nation. Education is a new venture. Creation and business management is absolutely necessary for the development of a creative nation. This study also sorts out the problems in innovation and entrepreneurship education, and it innovatively puts forward the four integration practical teaching method, which is of great importance for universities to carry out innovation and entrepreneurship education. The four integration practical teaching method involves the integration of innovation and entrepreneurship education with professional education, employment education, innovation and entrepreneurship competition, and innovation and entrepreneurship. Background of the proposed research. Education in entrepreneurship needs to evolve in order to address the new difficulties that are being presented in this day and age by development strategies that are driven by innovation. A practical teaching system of innovation and entrepreneurship in education is a paradigm-shifting approach of instruction that combines theoretical comprehension with practical experience while students are still in the classroom setting. The understanding that there is a large gap between traditional education and real-world skills and competencies required by those entering the profession can be tracked back to the origin of the practical teaching system that emphasizes innovation and entrepreneurship in the educational sector. Throughout the course of human history, educational systems have frequently placed a significant focus on the dissemination of theoretical material to the neglect of the more practical facts of education. The abilities of problem solving, inventiveness, and adaptability are highly valued in this business. The reason for this is a direct result of the changes that have taken place in the international economy. Problem statements, research questions, research objectives, research hypotheses, purpose of study, significance of the research. Chapter 2, Literature Review. Introduction. In order to create a specific practical education system that is capable of reaching the maximum possible level of functioning, the concepts of and practices of system science and system engineering had been put to use. This may be performed by designing each component that is part of practical education, such as the experiment, the practice, the practical training, the course design, and so on. That is done so that students' innovative spirit and entrepreneurship consumers can be inspired, honed, formed, and developed in the classroom, and so that students' entrepreneurial abilities can be expressed, formed, and developed in the classroom, and so that students' entrepreneurial abilities can be expressed, formed, developed, and improved during practice. The reason behind this is so that students' innovative spirit and entrepreneurship consumers can be inspired, honed, formed, and developed in the classroom. This includes everything that occurs parallel to the following the actual teaching of the courses, as well as the system that is used to keep track of credit. Global context. The same kind of exponential growth has not yet been observed in the higher level of education. Nevertheless, it is on the horizon as a result of policy pressure that has been placed on academic institutes. This is due to the fact that it has been established that education for entrepreneurialism may improve economic growth. This is vital not just to pave the way for educational levels lower than higher education, but also to provide evidence for effects that are not solely tailored to business. These students can be identified by the fact that they have a significant fascination with the subject of entrepreneurship, which drives them to pursue education in the field of entrepreneurship on their own initiatively. This is the situation despite the fact that a significant deal with work had been done on the concept at the level of policy. The country context, scope of study context, pertinent parallel research, independent variable, pertinent parallel research, independent variable 2, pertinent parallel research, independent variable 3, pertinent parallel research, independent variable, research gaps. The conceptual framework, the theoretical framework. Chapter 3, Research Methodology. The chosen research path quantitative method. The use of the tool will be of great assistance. In addition to this, the data analysis section will also investigate significant things such as the normalization of data and the question of whether or not there is a responsibility in regard to the link between the variables. Quantitative research is defined as an in-depth examination of the phenomenon that collects numerical data and employs mathematical, computational, or statistical approaches. After that, judgments are drawn regarding these three categories of customers based on the information that was guessed. Among these channels is social media, which may serve as an effective medium for reaching out to relevant parties and generating replies. The following phrase is an analysis of the data that was acquired, and for that, the major tool that will be used is going to be SPSS. Because of this, the reader will be able to judge whether or not there is an effect caused by the variables. Summary of the survey questionnaires. Demographic questions, 10 items. Independent variable, 1 questions, 10 terms. Independent variable, 2 questions, 10 items. Independent variable, 3 questions, 10 items. The independent variable questions, 10 items. Respondents and data sampling technology. Pilot testing. Quantitative data analysis tools. Research quality software. Data collection analysis. Introduction. In order to get an appreciation for the efficacy of academic strategies, it is of the most significance to have an understanding of the relationship between the many different educational components and the development of practical teaching systems in university. This is one of the most important parts of education. The purpose of this study was to evaluate the extent to which a number of independent variables, including curriculum system, design, practical learning opportunities, and teaching environment, culture in Qingdao institutions are connected with the dependent variable. Construction of practical teaching system. The hypothesis that claimed there was a positive connection between these factors were investigated in the study with the intention of determining whether or not they stood up to statistical scrutiny. Quantitative method. Descriptive analysis. Method of frequency. Method of frequency TPS range 0.51. Measure of frequency CSD range 2.03. Measure of frequency PLO range 1.32. Measure of frequency TEC range 1.75. Measure of central tendency. Measure of central tendency for CPTS range 1.11. Measure of central tendency for CSD range 0.92. Measures of central tendency for PLO range 0.54. Measures of central tendency for TES range 0.75. Measures of variations for CPTS range 1.23. Measure of variations for CSD range 1.37. Measures of variations for PLO range 0.47. Measure of variations for TS range 1.31. Cross-tabulation. Cross-tabulation show significant relationship between variables. Quantitative method. Infinite analysis. Findings of research hypothesis. Chapter 5. Concluding recommendations. Introduction. This chapter presents an in-depth research into the current state of education in Chinese educational institutions with regard to practical innovation and entrepreneurialism. These problems range from outdated concepts of entrepreneurial education to a lack of well-structured teaching systems and inadequate practical teaching platforms. These are only some of the issues that are discussed in further depth in the aforementioned study. Through empirical analysis and case studies, it seeks to inform educators and policymakers with the end goal of contributing to the reform of educational practices that encourage innovation and entrepreneurial success in China's higher education institutions. Conclusion of research objectives problem. Conclusion of research objective 1. The first RO explored the relation that exists between the structure of the educational curriculum and the way by which practical lessons are taught. This has brought to light the reality that both components need to operate in harmony in order to give an education that is all encompassing. Conclusion of research objective 2. The finding of RO2 have shed light on the potentially transforming functions that ought to be performed by educational experiences and intellectual experiment. The guarantees that students graduate with a broad skill set that successfully bridges the gap between the theory and practice. Conclusion of research object 3. The relations that arose from our 3 have shed light on the crucial role that the learning environment and the cultural context play in shaping the effectiveness of the practical education system. This has brought to light the necessity of combining traditional educational practices with contemporary pedagogical theories. A conclusion of research problem. The research issue of defining the current state of education in Chinese higher education institutions concerning practical innovation and entrepreneurship is the primary emphasis of the study's key focus of determining the existing state of education. Research recommendations, implications for further research. Thank you.